My name's Jake. I'm 24, living in a small apartment just outside Orlando, Florida. It's nothing fancy. One bedroom, thin walls, a couch I bought used, and a TV that sometimes decides to buzz for no reason. I work as a freelance web designer, picking up jobs from small businesses that want their sites to look modern, but never really know what that means. It pays the rent. That is pretty much it. Most days feel the same. Wake up, stare at my laptop, drink too much coffee, send emails, fix tiny things clients swear are urgent even when they are not. At night, I either game or watch something I have already seen. It is simple, quiet, and safe. That day started the same way. It was a warm Saturday afternoon. The Florida sun was bright outside, but inside my apartment it felt dull. I was sitting on the floor in front of my coffee table, laptop open, trying to finish a landing page for a gym that wanted more energy in its design. I had no idea what that meant either. My phone buzzed next to the mouse. It was a text from Ryan, my best friend since high school. Bro. Emergency. I frowned and typed back, "What kind of emergency?" He replied almost right away. "Left my backpack at your place last night. Headphones and work badge in there. Can you drop it at my house, please?" Mom's home. I'm stuck at a double shift. I glanced over at the corner of the room. His black backpack was slumped against the wall next to the TV. He had crashed at my place after we stayed up too late playing basketball on the console. I had forgotten it was even there. I checked the time. It was just past 3. I could use an excuse to stop staring at the dumb gym website. Yeah, sure. Leaving in 10. His reply came with a bunch of prayer hand emojis and a heart, for some reason. You're a legend. I threw on a clean t-shirt over my jeans, grabbed my keys and wallet, and slung Ryan's backpack over my shoulder. Outside, the air was hot and sticky, the kind that makes your clothes cling to your back. I got into my beat-up gray Corolla, started the engine, and let some low music play as I pulled out of the lot. Ryan's neighborhood was about 20 minutes away, in one of those quiet suburbs with palm trees, neat driveways, and kids, bikes tipped over in front yards. I had been going to that house since I was 16. Sleepovers, game nights, pool parties in the backyard. It felt familiar in the way old places do. His house was a 2-story place with light beige paint and white trim. The same wind chime hung by the porch, making a soft sound whenever the breeze hit. I parked in the driveway, turned off the car, and sat there for a second with my hands on the steering wheel. I had not seen his mom in a while. Not really, anyway. She was always Mrs. Carter to us growing up. Strict about shoes on the carpet, soft when she laughed. She had gone through a divorce a couple years back. After that, I did not see her much. She was either at work or in her room when I came over. I grabbed the backpack and walked up the steps to the front door. The welcome mat was the same one I remembered, a little worn around the edges. I rang the doorbell and shifted my weight, expecting to hear Ryan's voice in my head, joking about how many times we had done this. The door opened. It was not Ryan. It was his mom. And she was wearing nothing but a white towel. For a second, I forgot how to move. The towel was wrapped tight around her, tucked in at the top, ending just above her knees. Her dark hair was wet, hanging over her shoulders in loose strands. There were tiny drops of water on her collarbone, catching the light from the hallway behind her. She did not squeal or jump or slam the door. She just looked at me, calm, like this was the most normal thing in the world. "Jake," she said, her voice warm and steady. "Hey, I did not know you were coming over." My brain scrambled to catch up. I pulled the backpack higher on my shoulder, trying not to stare, and also trying not to look like I was trying not to stare. Hey, Mrs. Carter," I said, my mouth suddenly dry. Ryan texted. He left his backpack at my place. I thought I would drop it off so he would not freak out. Quote, "She smiled, and something about that smile felt different from the one I remembered from high school. Softer, maybe, more tired, more real." "Of course he did," she said. "That boy would forget his own head if it wasn't attached." She stepped back from the doorway, water still dripping from the ends of her hair. "Come in," she said. I just got out of the shower. I was not expecting anyone. "Let me throw something on. You can wait in the living room." I should have just handed her the backpack and left. That would have been smart, simple, safe. Instead, I nodded and stepped inside. The house smelled the same way it always had, like laundry detergent and something sweet. Maybe vanilla. The TV in the living room was off. A soft hum came from the air conditioner, and sunlight slipped through the blinds, leaving bright lines on the carpet. "Just a minute," she said, already walking down the hall, bare feet silent on the floor. The towel moved with her. I forced my eyes away and stared at the family photos on the wall instead. Ryan as a kid with a missing front tooth. Ryan in his graduation cap. Mrs. Carter in a simple blue dress, smiling with her arm around him. I let out a slow breath I had not realized I was holding and set the backpack down on the edge of the couch. What was I doing here? I could have left it on the porch. I could have handed it to her and backed away. But something kept me frozen, like the air in the house was thicker than the heat outside. A minute later, she came back down the hallway wearing a soft gray t-shirt and yoga pants. Her hair was still damp, but she had tied it back loosely. The towel was gone, but the picture of her standing there and it stayed sharp in my head. "Sorry about that," she said, brushing a strand of hair away from her face. Timing was not on my side today. "It is fine," I said quickly. "I should have texted before I came over." She shook her head and moved past me into the kitchen. "Do you want something to drink?" she asked over her shoulder. "Water, iced tea, lemonade, I think I have some in the fridge." "You don't have to do that," I said, but my voice sounded weak, even to me. "I know I don't," she said, opening the fridge. "I want to. You came all this way." She poured iced tea into 2 glasses and walked back into the living room, handing one to me. Her fingers brushed mine for a second. It was nothing, really, just skin against skin. But it felt like someone had turned the sound in the room up a little higher. "Thanks," I said, taking a sip. The tea was cold and a little sweet. It grounded me just enough to breathe normal again. She sat down on the edge of the armchair across from the couch and looked at me, really looked, like she was seeing me for the first time in years, not just as Ryan's friend who raided their fridge in high school, but as someone new. "So," she said, a small smile tugging at her lips, "still doing the web design thing?" "Yeah," I said, setting the glass on a coaster. "Trying to, anyway. I picked up a few new clients around town. It keeps me busy." "I am glad," she said. "Ryan always said you were the one who would figure things out first. He used to come home from school complaining that you made him look lazy." Quote? I laughed, the sound slipping out easier than I expected. "That sounds like him," I said. "He still works nights, right?" "Yeah," she said, and something in her eyes dimmed just a bit. "Warehouse, long hours, weird schedule. I don't see him as much as I would like." Her gaze dropped to her glass for a second. When she looked back up at me, there was a small crease between her eyebrows, like she wanted to say something but was not sure if she should. "It gets quiet here," she said softly. "Sometimes too quiet." I did not know what to do with that. I was not used to adults, especially someone like her talking to me like that. Honest, a little open, a little lonely. "I get that," I said after a moment. "My place feels like that most nights, just me and my laptop." She smiled again. This time it reached her eyes. "Then maybe we are in the same boat," she said. "Two people in quiet houses, trying to make it work." I held her gaze for a second longer than felt normal. There was something in the way she looked at me. Not just friendly, not just polite, curious, maybe. A little warm, a little too aware. I felt my heart pick up. I told myself it was nothing. I finished my tea and grabbed Ryan's backpack. "I should leave this in his room before I forget," I said, standing up a little too fast. She nodded and stood too. "Sure," she said. "You know the way." As I walked down the hallway, past the photos and the closed doors, I felt the weight of her eyes on my back. When I dropped the backpack on Ryan's bed and came back out, she was still standing there in the living room, one hand lightly touching the back of the armchair. "Thanks again for bringing it," she said. "Really, you saved him a lot of trouble." "No problem," I said. "It was on my way." We both knew it was not exactly on my way. Neither of us said it. I stepped toward the door, and she followed. When I opened it, warm air rushed in from outside. I turned back to say goodbye, and she was closer than I expected. Not too close. Just close enough for me to see the tiny drops of water still clinging to a strand of her hair near her neck. "See you around, Jake," she said softly. "Yeah," I said. "See you." Quote. I walked back to my car, my heart beating a little too hard for a simple visit. When I slid into the driver's seat and shut the door, the quiet hit me all at once. I had come here to drop off a backpack, but all I could think about was the way she had opened that door in a towel, like it was no big deal. And for the first time, I did not just see her as Ryan's mom. I tried to forget about it. I told myself it was just a weird moment. Bad timing. She had just stepped out of the shower. Nothing more. People wrapped in towels existed everywhere. It was not some big sign. It was not supposed to mean anything, but my brain would not let it go. Every time I opened a new file to work, I kept seeing the front door of that house. The towel. The drops of water on her neck. The way she had looked at me, calm and steady, like I was not just a kid coming by with a backpack. For a couple days, I did not hear much from Ryan. Just a meme or two in our group chat. I tried to push it all away and focus on my work. Late Tuesday afternoon, while I was tweaking a layout for a coffee shop site, my phone buzzed again. It was him. "You around tonight?" "Yeah, why?" "Come over. Got a new game." And Mom made way too much food. I stared at the message a little longer than I should have. It was normal. We had done this 100 times. I told myself that. Sure. Be there in an hour. I shut my laptop, changed into a fresh t-shirt, and grabbed my keys. The drive to his neighborhood felt strange this time. The streets looked the same, but there was a knot in my stomach that had not been there before. When I pulled into the driveway, Ryan's car was not there. I checked the time. I was a little early. Maybe he was picking something up or running late from work. I took a breath, got out of the car, and walked up to the door. I rang the bell. This time I told myself I was ready. The door opened, and there she was again. No towel now. She wore a soft, black tank top and a light cardigan, along with gray joggers. Her hair was up in a messy bun, a few strands falling near her face. She looked relaxed, like someone who had just finished cleaning or cooking. "Jake," she said with a small smile. "Hey." "Hey, Mrs. Carter," I said. My eyes went past her for a second, looking for Ryan out of habit. "Is Ryan here?" "He is on his way," she said. "He texted that he got held up at work. Said you were coming, though. Come in. You do not have to wait outside." I stepped inside. The house smelled like something good, tomato and garlic and warm bread. The TV was playing some home makeover show on low volume. "You hungry?" she asked, closing the door behind me. "I made baked ziti. I made way too much." Again. My stomach answered before I could. "Yeah," I said. "I could eat." She smiled and nodded toward the kitchen. "Sit. I will make you a plate. Ryan can warm his up when he gets here." I followed her to the kitchen. The table was set with 3 plates, even though he was not home yet. A big glass dish of pasta sat in the center, cheese melted and golden on top. There was a bowl of salad, too, and a basket of garlic bread. "You did not have to do all this," I said, pulling out a chair. "I did not," she said, scooping pasta onto my plate. "But I wanted to. Cooking for one gets boring. At least this way I feel like it is worth the trouble." There it was again, that small crack in her voice, that hint of something under the easy tone. I took a bite. It was really good, warm and cheesy and full of flavor. Home and away frozen dinners never are. "This is amazing," I said, not even trying to be polite. "Like, seriously amazing." She laughed, a real light sound. "Thank you," she said. "My mother used to make it when I was a kid. I guess some things stick." She sat across from me with her own plate, watching me for a moment like she was checking to see if I was telling the truth. Then she relaxed and started eating too. We talked about basics at first. My work, a weird client I had who wanted everything more jazzy without explaining what that meant. Her job at the office downtown, traffic, the weather, safe things. But little by little, it shifted. "You know," she said, setting her fork down for a second, "it is strange seeing you here like this." I frowned. Like what? Older, she said. You and Ryan used to run through this house like you owned the place. Sneakers on the couch, video games blaring. You both were just kids. Now you are talking about clients and work and rent. It makes me feel old. You don't seem old, I said before I could stop myself. Her eyebrows rose just a little, the corner of her mouth turning up. No, she asked. What do I seem like then? I felt heat creep up my neck. I stabbed a piece of pasta to buy myself a second. I don't know, I said, trying to be honest, but not weird. You just seem you, not old. Just you. She looked at me for a moment, and something in her eyes softened. That is kind of you, she said quietly. Thank you. We kept eating. The house felt different tonight. The same walls, the same hum of the air, but there was a new layer to it, like a radio tuned just slightly off a station with another song in the background. After we finished, I stood up to help clear the table without thinking. You do not have to do that, she said, grabbing the salad bowl. I know, I said. I want to. We moved around the kitchen together, her at the sink, me drying dishes with a towel. It felt simple, easy. Our shoulders brushed once when we both reached for the same plate. It was small, but I felt it all the way through. Sorry, I said, laughing a little. It is fine, she said, smiling. I am used to Ryan crashing into everything. This is an upgrade. I laughed, and she did too. As she turned to set a dish on the counter, she spoke again, her voice softer. Do you like it here, Jake? She asked. In Orlando. In your place. Your life. The question surprised me. I leaned against the counter, holding the towel in my hands. I think so, I said slowly. I mean, I like the freedom. I like working for myself. But sometimes it feels like it is just me and my laptop. It gets quiet. A little too quiet. She nodded, her eyes focused on the dish she was rinsing. It is the same here, she said. Ryan is gone a lot. Friends, work, whatever. I am happy for him, but this house feels too big when it is just me. She set the dish down and looked over at me. You live alone, you get it. I held her gaze, feeling that same pull in my chest. Yeah, I said. I get it. For a moment we just stood there in the small kitchen, the air filled with the smell of soap and garlic and dish steam. Her eyes searched mine like she was trying to decide something. Then her expression shifted into a small, almost shy smile. Thank you for keeping me company, she said. Even if you did not mean to. I did not mind, I said. The food helped. She laughed again, and the sound made the room feel warmer. We finished the dishes and went back to the living room. She sat at one end of the couch, and I took the other. The home makeover show was still playing on the TV. A couple on screen was arguing about paint colors. For a second, it felt like we were just two people watching TV after dinner. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. She picked it up, read the message, and sighed. That Ryan, she said. He is running late. He says he might be another hour. Oh, I said. I can head out if you want. I did not mean to take up your whole night. She shook her head right away. No, she said. You do not have to rush, unless you want to. I just thought you should know he is not walking through that door any time soon. Her eyes met mine as she said it, and it felt like there was something else under the words. My heart thumped hard once, then again. I thought about leaving. I thought about staying. I thought about the towel, the kitchen, the quiet in both our homes. I thought about Ryan and his trust and how this was his mother sitting 10 feet away from me, on the same couch we used to pile onto as kids. I can stay a bit, I heard myself say, if you do not mind. I do not mind, she said. It is nice not hearing only the TV. She tucked one leg under her and turned slightly toward me, closer now, but not too close. We watched the show for a few minutes, making small comments about how the couple should not pick that ugly yellow paint. I could feel her there, next to me, in the space between us. At one point she laughed at something on the screen and her hand reached out, landing lightly on my forearm. It was a simple touch, light, but my skin lit up under it. She seemed to notice. Her fingers stayed there just a second too long before she pulled back, her cheeks a little pink. "Sorry," she said. "I forget how to act sometimes, being around people." "It is fine," I said, my voice low. "Really, it is fine." Outside, I heard a car door shut. A moment later, Ryan's familiar footsteps sounded on the porch. Her eyes flicked to the door, then back to me. For a heartbeat, the room felt full of something unsaid. Then it snapped back. "Looks like your friend is home," she said, standing up. I stood too, my pulse racing for reasons that had nothing to do with video games. As Ryan swung the door open, loud and smiling like always, I could not help thinking one thing. Whatever was happening here had just started, and I had no idea where it was going. For a few days after that dinner, I tried to act like nothing had changed. Ryan and I still texted about games and stupid videos. I still sat at my small table, working on websites and answering emails. I still ordered cheap takeout when I did not feel like cooking. But the house in his neighborhood kept pushing into my thoughts. I kept seeing the kitchen light on her face. The way she smiled when I said she did not seem old. The way her hand had rested on my arm for that second on the couch. The way the whole house felt less empty when we were both in it. On Saturday morning, Ryan texted me, "Hoops at the park, you in?" I answered without thinking, "Yeah, be there in 30. The court was in a park not far from his place. The sun was hot, and the blacktop already felt warm under my sneakers. A few guys were shooting around. Kids played on the swings nearby. The air smelled like cut grass and sunscreen. Ryan was already there, bouncing a ball at the free throw line. He waved when he saw me. "About time," he said. "I was starting to think you forgot how to get outside." "Shut up," I said, laughing as I walked over. "I have been busy." Quote, "We played 2-on-2 with a couple of other guys. For a while, the running and jumping and trash talk cleared my head. My body knew what to do: shoot, pass, move. Sweat." During a break, we sat on the low wall near the court, passing a bottle of water back and forth. Ryan wiped his face with his shirt and gave me a side look. "So," he said, "my mom likes you again." I frowned. "What?" He shrugged. "She keeps saying how nice it is when you come by," he said. "Talking about how you help with dishes, how you like her cooking, how you are doing your own thing with work. She even cleaned the living room last time you were over. She never does that for me." My chest tightened a little. "I did not know that," I said. Ryan laughed. "Relax," he said. "She just likes having you around. You know how she gets when the house is too quiet. You are like her extra kid or something." Extra kid. The words hit weird, not in a bad way. Just not in the way he meant. "Yeah," I said, "I get that." He bounced the ball between his hands. "Honestly, I am glad," he said. "Since the divorce, she has been kind of shut down. The last few weeks, she has been singing along to the radio and stuff. It is good to see." He said it like it was nothing. Then he stood and jogged back to the court. I sat there for a second longer, watching him line up a shot. The ball went through the hoop with a clean sound. My best friend liked that I was around his mom more. He had no idea why my heart was beating faster. That night, I went to the grocery store near my apartment to grab coffee, cereal, and some frozen dinners. The air inside was cold after the heat outside. Music played softly from the speakers. I pushed my cart past the produce and headed toward the pasta aisle. That was when I saw her. She was standing in front of the shelves, looking at jars of sauce. Her hair was loose around her shoulders. She wore a simple blue blouse and jeans. One hand rested on the handle of her own cart. The other picked up a jar, then set it back down like she could not decide. "Mrs. Carter," I said before I could overthink it. She looked up, and her face changed from focused to surprised, to warm all in a second. "Jake," she said. "Hi." I rolled my cart closer and stopped a few feet away. "Grocery night too?" I asked. "Apparently," she said, smiling. I was trying to talk myself out of making pasta again. I always end up with leftovers. "Your leftovers are better than anything I buy frozen," I said. Her smile widened just a little. "Careful," she said. "If you say things like that, I might start cooking on purpose." My heart did that jump thing again. Maybe that is not a bad thing, I said. For a moment, we just stood there between shelves full of boxes and jars, watching each other. People pushed carts past us. A kid whined for candy near the end of the aisle. The world kept moving. She looked down into her cart, then back at me. "Are you busy tonight?" she asked. The question hung there between us. "I was just going to go home and eat something sad," I said. "So number Y." Her hand tightened on the cart handle just a bit. "I make too much every time," she said. Her voice softer now. "Ryan is out with friends tonight. I was thinking of making dinner and watching something. If you want to come by, I would not say no to company." My chest felt tight and light at the same time. "Yeah," I said. "I would like that." 6 o'clock, she asked. 6 is good, I said. We finished shopping, and I walked her cart to her car without her asking. When we reached it, she opened the trunk and loaded her bags in. I watched the way she moved, practiced and neat, like she had done this alone 100 times. "See you at 6 then," she said, shutting the trunk. "See you," I said. On the drive home, my hands gripped the steering wheel a little harder than usual. I knew this was more than just pasta and a movie. I also knew I could still tell myself it was only that. At 6 sharp, I parked in front of her house and walked up to the door. The sky was starting to turn orange. A warm breeze moved the wind chime on the porch. I knocked, then pulled in a breath. The door opened, and there she was. She wore a simple green dress that hit just above her knees, nothing fancy, but it made her eyes stand out. Her hair was down, brushed, and soft. She had a light necklace on, just a small gold circle. "Hey," she said, "you are right on time." "I try," I said. "Come in," she said. "Dinner is almost ready." The smell hit me right away. Garlic, tomato, something baking. The house felt warm and soft. A small lamp was on in the corner of the living room, giving the whole place a gentle glow. In the kitchen, a pot of sauce simmered on the stove. A pan of roasted vegetables sat on the counter. There was a bottle of red wine open next to 2 glasses. "I know you are not a kid anymore," she said, noticing my look, "so I figured you might want more than iced tea." I smiled. "Wine is good," I said. She poured some into my glass and some into hers, then handed mine over. Our fingers touched for a moment again. "To not eating alone," she said, lifting her glass a little. I lifted mine too. "To not eating alone," I repeated. We sat at the table, plates full. Glasses half full. The candle in the center flickered quietly. It was simple, but it felt like something more. "You can call me Laura, you know," she said halfway through the meal. I looked up, my fork halfway to my mouth. "What?" "Mrs. Carter," she said with a small laugh. "You keep saying it like I am your teacher. You are 24. "I think you can call me by my first name." I swallowed. "Okay," I said slowly. "Laura." Her name felt new in my mouth, almost too personal. She seemed to feel it too. Her eyes softened. "That is better," she said. We talked for a long time. About her job. About how she had wanted to move to the city when she was younger but stayed for family. About how she started over after the divorce and how lonely that felt some nights. About my work. My fear of failing. How sometimes my apartment felt like it was closing in on me. She listened in a way most people do not. She asked questions. She laughed at my jokes. She shared little pieces of herself without making a big deal out of it. At one point, when I told her about a client who never paid on time, she reached across the table and touched my hand. "You are doing better than you think," she said. "You should give yourself more credit." My hand stayed under hers. I did not move. Her fingers were warm. The candle flame reflected in her eyes. I did not know how long we stayed like that. It felt like a long time and no time at all. Then she pulled back, her cheeks a little pink. "Sorry," she said softly. "I forget I am not supposed to be so open." "It is okay," I said. "I like that about you." Her eyes flicked to mine at that. We cleared the table together. Then we moved to the couch with our refilled glasses of wine. A movie played on the TV, but I did not really follow the plot. The light from the screen moved across her face. She sat closer than she had before, our shoulders almost touching. Halfway through the movie, a scene made her laugh. She turned her head toward me, and her knee brushed against my leg. Neither of us moved away. "You know," she said quietly, "I did not ask you here just because of the pasta." I turned to face her fully, my heart beating hard. "I guessed," I said. She took a breath, her eyes searching mine. "I like having you here, Jake," she said, "more than I probably should. It makes this place feel alive again." My throat felt tight. "I like being here," I said, "more than I should too." For a moment the world narrowed to the space between us, the soft sound of the TV, the faint hum of the air conditioner, the slight warmth of her knee against mine. She lifted her hand, hesitated, then let it rest on my cheek. Her fingers were gentle, careful, like she was afraid I might pull away. I did not. "Tell me if I am crossing a line," she whispered. Before I could answer, her phone buzzed on the coffee table, loud in the quiet room. We both jumped a little. She dropped her hand and leaned forward to grab it. "It is Ryan," she said, looking at the screen. "He is staying out late. He will not be home for hours." She set the phone back down slowly. Our eyes met again. The line she was worried about hung there between us, bright and thin. And for the first time, I had to decide if I was going to step over it. My first thought was that I should leave. My second thought was that I did not want to. Laura's phone screen dimmed again on the table. The movie kept playing in the background, but neither of us was watching it anymore. The room felt smaller, like the walls had moved in just a little. The only thing that felt big was the space between her and me. She was the first to break the silence. "You do not have to stay," she said quietly, her eyes on the glass in her hand. "If this feels wrong, you can go. I will not be upset." "I mean that." Her voice was calm, but I could hear something under it. Fear, hope, both. I swallowed. "If I wanted to leave," I said, "I would have left already." She looked up at me then, really looked, like she was searching my face for a lie. Whatever she saw there made her shoulders relax a little. "This is not simple," she said. "You know that." "I know," I said. "Ryan is my best friend. You are his mom. This is complicated." She gave a short, soft laugh. "That is one word for it," she said. For a second, we both smiled. Then her face turned serious again. "I do not want to hurt him," she said. "I spent years trying not to hurt him, even when everything was falling apart. I cannot be the reason he feels betrayed." "You are not," I said. "At least, I do not think you are." She raised an eyebrow. "And you?" she asked. "Are you okay being in this with that hanging over us?" I took a breath and tried to be honest with myself before I spoke. "I am scared," I said. "Not gonna lie. Part of me keeps thinking about him. But another part of me keeps thinking about you. The way I feel when I am here. The way I feel when I am not. And I cannot pretend that does not matter." Her eyes softened. "How do you feel when you are here?" she asked quietly, like someone had pulled the words right out of my chest. "Like I am not just killing time," I said. "Like I am not just filling space with noise and work and games. Like I am seen. Like I am part of something, even if it is just dinner and dishes and bad TV." I let out a breath I did not know I had been holding. "And when I am not here," I added, "I think about being here. About you. About the way you said your house feels too big when you are alone. My place feels too small and too empty at the same time. It does not when I know I might see you." Her eyes were shiny now, like she was holding back more than just words. "Jake," she said softly. She set her glass down and turned toward me fully, tucking one leg under her again. Her knee pressed against my thigh, this time on purpose. I did not move. "You have no idea how much it means to hear that," she said. "I spent years feeling like background noise. The person who pays the bills, cooks the food, makes sure everyone else is okay. After the divorce, it got worse. I started thinking that maybe this was just it. This was my life, quiet and half-lived." She paused, her gaze flicking between my eyes. "And then you started coming around again," she went on. First with headphones and quick visits, then dinners and walks and jokes about pasta. And I felt awake, like I had not been breathing fully in a long time, and suddenly I could again. I did not have an answer for that, not one that felt big enough, so I did the only thing that felt right. I reached for her hand. Her fingers slid into mine like they had been waiting there. Warm, sure, not shaking. We cannot pretend this is nothing, I said, but we also do not have to know what it is right now. Her lips curved into a small, sad, hopeful smile all at once. So what do we do then? She asked. We go slow, I said. We be careful. We do not lie to Ryan, but we do not throw this in his face either. We see where it goes, and if it ever starts to feel like we are going to blow his world up, we talk about it. We do not just crash into it. She let out a slow breath. You are more mature than most men my age, she said. I smiled a little. I am just trying not to ruin the two people I care about, I said. Her eyes searched mine again. Then her hand squeezed mine. Come here, she whispered. She moved closer on the couch, slow, like she was giving both of us time to change our minds. The space between us shrank until it was gone. I could see the tiny lines at the edges of her eyes, the small scar on her chin I had never noticed before. Last chance to back out, she said, her voice barely above the sound of the TV. I shook my head. I am not going anywhere, I said. She leaned in and kissed me. It was not wild or rushed. It was soft, careful, and full of all the things we had not said out loud until now. Her hand came up to my cheek again, and mine went to her shoulder, pulling her just a little closer. For a moment, everything else fell away. No friend, no history, no lines. Just the two of us on that couch with the glow of the TV flickering across the room. When we finally pulled back, our foreheads rested together. We were both breathing a little harder than before, but the room felt lighter. I should feel worse about that than I do, she said with a small smile. Same, I said. We sat like that for a long time. Sometimes talking in low voices, sometimes just sitting in silence, hands linked, her head on my shoulder, the movie long over, and the credits dark on the screen. When the clock on the wall crept closer to midnight, I knew I had to go. Ryan could come home any time. Even if he did not, the night could not last forever. I should probably head out, I said quietly. She nodded, but her fingers tightened around mine for a second before she let go. I know, she said. I do not want you to, but I know. We stood in the hallway near the door, the same place where this had all started, with a towel and a backpack. The house was quiet. The porch light cast a soft glow through the glass panels. She looked up at me, her expression open in a way I had never seen before. I do not know what we are now, she said, but I know I do not want this to end here. It does not have to, I said. We will figure it out. She smiled, and there was a little bit of that glow Ryan had mentioned at the park, the one he said she had back lately, the one I now knew I had helped spark. Text me when you get home, she said, just so I know you are safe. Okay, I said. She stepped closer, rose on her toes just a little, and gave me one more soft kiss. Shorter this time, but just as real. Good night, Jake, she whispered. Good night, Laura, I said. Walking back to my car, the air felt different. The streetlights buzzed like always. The wind chime made its small sound. But I felt like I was walking through a new version of my own life. On the drive home, my mind spun. I thought about Ryan's laugh at the court, his words about his mom having a spark again. I thought about her sitting alone at the table, then with me. About our hands finding each other in the quiet. When I got to my apartment, I texted her. Home. Her reply came almost right away. Thank you. Sleep well. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the hum of my old fridge in the next room, my laptop closed on the table. The apartment did not feel as empty as it usually did. Somewhere across town, in a house that used to be just my best friend's, someone else was lying in bed, thinking about the same strange, impossible thing. We were not a normal couple. We were not just friends. We were not a mistake either. We were two people who found each other in the middle of quiet rooms and heavy days, standing on the edge of something fragile and real. I did not know how long it would last. I did not know how we would handle the hard conversations that were waiting for us down the road. I did not know how Ryan would react if he ever knew. But I knew this. When she opened that door in a towel, it was supposed to be just a funny, awkward moment, a story you laugh about later and forget. Instead, it was the beginning of the first thing in a long time that made me feel like my life was actually happening. And whatever came next, good or bad, I was not going back to the version of myself who lived only for work and quiet. Because now, every time my phone buzzed, every time I drove through those streets, every time I passed a jar of pasta sauce in a store, I knew one thing for sure. My best friend's mom was not just Mrs. Carter anymore. She was Laura. And somehow, somewhere between headphones and dinner, she had become the person who made all the empty spaces in my life feel full.